And what's up, y'all? It's your boy DJ Ben and welcome to FanBrosShow, the voice of the urban geek for all nerds. And let me say that one more time. It's your boy DJ Ben aka Lando Californication, the ghost in the shell. So keep that same inner John when you see me reading Rambro, Benny and the Jetsons, a Wakandan werewolf in London, General Huxtable, the redemption of Finn, Meek Millhouse here in the spaceship tonight.
Oh my God, not Meek Millhouse.
Meek Millhouse, that's right. We here, we live on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on iTunes, everywhere. And as always, I'm joined by
Tatiana King Jones, aka the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as Stone Cold Steve Flossin, aka Gem and the Hollow Fam, aka Princess Preach, aka E Honda Civic, aka the Arc Android 18, aka Queen of the Amazon's Prime subscription, aka T'Challa Bread, aka Toffee Baratheon, aka Flex.
Oh, a lot of heat coming off that couch right there. A lot of heat coming off that couch right now. And in the third seat we have,
oh my God, it is me, Jeff J, aka the Haitian Super Saiyan, do rags to riches, Earth, Wind, and Firestorm, John Bodega, Bag of Vance, Astro, Brian McKnight, Thrasher, Fax the Destroyer, Time, Holland to Hollywood, but it's good, and Android 17 Wolf.
Hey, what up, DBZ reference? I like it.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. And like we said before, everyone out there, welcome to another episode of FanBrosShow. Thank you to everybody who's been listening. Subscribe to everything. Like we said, we got this YouTube popping in 2018. So make sure you hit that subscribe button right there. Get them notifications going, all that good stuff. Hit me up on Twitch. Hit me up on PlayStation. I've been rocking that God of War, DJ Ben Xbox everywhere. We everywhere right now.
You beat it yet?
FanBrosShow. Hell no, I ain't beat that shit yet. Yeah. Every time I think like, okay, I'm getting close to the end, and it's like, bruh, please. Like, there is much more to this game. And then I'm taking my time exploring everything. I'm listening to the whole story between the father and the son.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about to give away a spoiler, but you get a lot more story from a certain character about halfway through the game, I'd say. And that's where I'm at now. And I've been really enjoying that part of it. So I've been really listening to the stories that are being told. So yeah,
I gotta jack my little sister for her PS4 so I could play this game, bro. Don't let her know I said that though.
Yo, shout out to the Grime because he laced me up. That was this first PS4 and first PS4 game I even got was God of War. So first game I got. I'm definitely looking forward to Spider-Man.
That's
and there's mad games I'm about to go back and get. But
yeah. Nice. Damn.
Hey, it's a good life. Feels good to be king, folks. Feels good to be king. Welcome, I already said welcome a million times. It's a hot show right now. We got a super big guest on it, but we got some other things to talk about. It has been a fire week. In every which way. It felt like this week, it felt like the Infinity Fade was still going on, and certain people were catching it without even knowing it. Like they were just stepping out and like, oh, I caught the fade, certain celebrities were just, coming out their ass saying
Here's
everything.
The question: how do you Infinity Fade yourself?
Yo, for real, it's like it's like you see other people disappearing, and you're like, hold up, you like grab onto one of them or something. You like push them out of the way.
You grab onto them, you beam yourself out.
What about me?
You're like, no, take me instead.
I volunteer as tribute.
And excuse me, Mr. West decided to do that to himself this week, but then it just turned into a beautiful end of the week with, Donald Glover and
This Is America. Jesus, the symbolism, the power, the message in that shit. My God.
He was hitting the moves though. Like let's be like, y'all can deconstruct it however you want. He was getting them young boy dances off.
His shoot was nice. He did shoot real good.
At my not so advanced age, those are young boy dances. Like, the fact that he caught that shit, I'm like, yo, now I gotta do it. I have to be able to catch it now. Like, if I can't shoot, you seen DJ Khaled shoot dance?
No, that's probably horrible.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Like he's fighting himself.
Oh no.
But I didn't know Donald Glover had the light feet like that. I didn't know. What?
Oh no, I've been knowing it since he, did like other episodes and other like performances. My man can definitely move because
I didn't know. Like,
Oh no, he definitely been busting like the James Brown moves, all that type of style. But yeah, back to the video. The director is the same director from Atlanta, Hero
Mirai.
Yeah, Hero Mirai. Like, just I think it's one shot throughout the whole thing. You know, like it's just one long shot. Everything had to happen in coordination and precision. Like, just silliness.
It's edited one shot, edited continuous shot. But yeah.
Okay, so they didn't actually do it in one shot. It's just edited to look like one shot.
Okay.
All right. Well, you know, I ain't mad.
Same thing.
I ain't mad at that. You know,
it don't change the concept.
The hustle is still there. You know, the hustle and the work put into it is still there. But that, you know, something else I wanted to talk about on this episode, something we really got to talk about, is how people just put things into, people start making people into heroes, you know, like, and to geniuses is a word people just throw around right away. And then it leads into the thing where it's like we have Donald Glover right now, where now everyone's like, oh my God, he's the most important artist. I saw someone tweet that out right now. Like, no one else is on his level right now. And it's like, that's real interesting and real, like, you know, how do you have that going on? How do you say he's the most important artist? He's the only one who can, you know, speak for anyone. That really, I don't really like that. I don't like that concept because it leads into the idea like we have a Kanye West, like, right? Kanye West at one point was the most important artist. You know, what is he going to say next? What's he going to do next? And then people wait for you to fall or wait for you to make that mistake so they can tear you apart. You know, and it puts a lot of pressure on these people. And then it also, the idea that one person creates anything by themselves is also a silly idea. You know, that one person is behind everything. Because as we see, you know, Hero's the director of Atlanta. You know, he's directed pretty much every episode. I think Donald's done one, maybe one other person's done some other episodes like that. You know, the writing team of Atlanta is like, you know, 5-6 different people, the royalty writing team. You know, they also worked on the Childish Gambino album. So it's like all these things, you know, Kanye West himself, when he was making his great albums, he had mad collaborators and mad people working on it. But people always want to just put the one person on a pedestal. And that becomes a problem because then they want to tear that one person down.
What do we do when we have situations where these people that we put on pedestals or look up to or whatever you want to say about them do F up? What do we do when these people who are supposed to represent the ideal of whether it's creativity or culture or whatever the case may be, what do you do? But this has happened this week a few times.
Yeesh. Yeah, and you know, really personally, and to FanBrosShow and to our listeners and everyone, I know a lot of people out there know that Junot Diaz, you know, he's a good friend of mine. He was one of our most important, you know, still to this day, one of my favorite episodes of the show. Just an incredible episode. I still think he's a great writer, but I also fully understand what people have been saying this week about not only his writing but his life. And you know, I was like Tatiana said, what do you do when this happens?
Like, this conversation keeps coming up because we start talking about their works. Do you throw out the baby with the bathwater at that point? Does their behavior negate either past or current works or the power thereof of those works? What do you do? And granted, there's no one right answer, right? Everyone's going to feel the way they feel about different things. But that being said, I think it's important to discuss that. What do you do with these works? Does all those works for all of a sudden become trash? Does that mean that those things are frozen in time and anything going forward is you don't pay attention to? What do you do with these people?
Well, I do think it opens you up to scrutiny, right? Whether you're doing any art that you're presenting for public consumption, you offer it up for scrutiny because art is to be absorbed and to be to everybody interprets it a different way. And when you create something, everybody's going to take their little tidbits and their morsels from it. And you only know what you endeavored to do when you created the art. But everybody can find different pieces within your art that resonates with them and that manifests into something that you may not even saw or you may not even intended, but it causes you to be able to reflect and say, oh shoot, this is a level I didn't even notice. Yeah, you can interpret that. I wasn't trying to say that, but yeah, you can interpret it like that. Like I see it. And that's the beauty of art, is that because it's so subjective, you can find things in it that no one else can and make a case for it. But it's difficult, right? Because people can be geniuses, because like the textbook definition, like I pulled it up on my phone right now. It's extraordinary intellectual powers, especially as manifested in creative activity, or someone endowed with extraordinary mental superiority, right? Yeah. I'm of the belief that genius, depending on the topic, it's not transferable. I could be a musical genius. That doesn't mean I can do linear regression and all these type of statistical analysis because I'm a genius in a certain field. So I don't think that anybody who exhibits genius is free from any type of criticism. But you can interpret their works with all of their negative qualities in mind and take from it what you will. You similar to like Bill Cosby, for example. Bill Cosby, you know, Heathcliff Huxtable and Bill Cosby are two totally different people, played by the same man. Heathcliff Huxtable is somebody who built something that I grew up on and that I can appreciate for the lessons that was taught within that show. But Bill Cosby, you know, he is what he is. He's a fucking predator. He's a rapist. He's all of that. But I don't think that what he did in real life is the art that he created.
Okay.
That's interesting. But then it's like, well, like me, I never really cared for R. Kelly. Like Your Body's Calling was like pretty much the only joint that I ever F with. And I saw somebody I was reading this long article about him this week where someone was defending him and saying, you know, he's contributed so much to the culture. And I'm like, I mean, okay, like I believe I Can Fly, you know, like, okay, that's the jam, right? That, you know, inspirational.
He wrote for a lot of people.
True indeed, Maxwell.
He contributions. Like if we just take him from everything else and just talk about the work that he put in just in the genre alone, save all the pedophilia and all of that shit, he did contribute to the culture. Like that, that's just a fact.
Okay, but see, this is something that I've always thought about, right? And it goes back to even before R. Kelly, anyone, like someone like Shakespeare, any great artist, right? When you think about them, it's like they're in this position, but how did they get in that position? And I'm sure there's other artists like that who just aren't in that position. Because, and also one of the reasons why is because R. Kelly occupies that position. So I'm sure there were other artists who could have been R. Kelly's position who weren't out there fucking kids. You know, so it's like that. I mean, no, let's keep it real. That's what I'm saying. You got to put these things in perspective. And that's what I've always said, because it's like people idolize certain people. Like, we don't know what Shakespeare was doing. We don't know if he had mad ghostwriters. You know, like, I'm sure there's historians and stuff who can bait me, whatever. But you don't, you know, were we there, like, right there? Who is
that? That got weak when you talk about Shakespeare had a ghost.
Hell.
Shakespeare. Wait, no, we can't. Wait, hold on.
That's the title of the episode. Bong.
Like, even Shakespeare got ghostwriters.
Shakespeare was out here. Shakespeare didn't write his own rhymes.
I don't know. I wasn't there in the studio when he was kicking them shits. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I mean. But people put different things on pedestals.
Shakespeare in the stew now? How we get here?
It happens. It happens. Tara said he was going to battle him and take his shit. So, you know, it's already out there. But
Summer Night's Dream was written by fucking Plato and not Shakespeare and shit. He was like,
I think that's like different centuries.
Yo, imagine. But a spook. Yo, that shit is fire, yo. And let me publish it under my work.
Oh my God.
But back to the reality of it, that's what I'm saying. It's like we say, okay, you can take this person away from that. And yes, you can, but at the same time, you can't forget what these people have done. So in good and, more importantly, in bad ways, you know, sometimes. And so back to someone like Junot Diaz, someone who we on the show personally love, as much as we do like his writing, everything he said, you also have to take the good with the bad with these people and be like,
So is the lesson, don't put anyone on a pedestal?
I think that's pretty much, I mean, not that, but that's one part of it. Like, you know, it's like, you got to understand that everyone is human. People do terrible shit. Men are trash, you know, in general, like, you know, facts, you know, and so it's like, that's you can't sit there and be like, oh my God. Like, I just hate even now how they just did Donald Glover. You know, he comes off this show and now everyone's like, genius. Oh my God, most important. He's the only thing that matters. And it's like, wait a minute, man. There's like mad artists out there making beautiful, great music. A lot of them we don't pay effing attention to. Lexi Alexander was talking about this before on our show. When you're like, you know, every time a movie comes up, Ava's got to direct it. You know, now it's like Ryan Coogler's got to direct it. But there are 50 million other directors of color, women directors who need work, etc. Yeah. You know, you can't just always be like, this is the one.
Well, that's why they're called
Neo.
Right? That's why they're called fanatics, because they're insane. They're insane about the people that they support. So I get it. I get what you say. I can't fault anybody for wanting to elevate people. Like, I personally, just switching genres, I still don't understand how at this point someone could watch basketball and say, I love basketball, and in the same breath say, I hate LeBron James. I can't.
It's impossible. Like,
I don't understand that.
As a kid, I hated Michael Jordan. But you know why I hated Michael Jordan?
He shit on y'all.
He wasn't on my team.
And he wasn't on your team. He was mad
for my Knicks trying to get to the finals. So, but I never denied his greatness. It was just fuck him. Because fuck him. You know, I wished he would stay in Atlantic City an extra week and maybe drink a little more Henny so we could get a game off of him. But I never denied his greatness. I never denied his greatness. And I think that's what it is. Like, I can't fault somebody for wanting to elevate another artist. But in this era where we can communicate our critiques through social media, through the internet, through other means, that's why I salute a lot of the creatives and a lot of the people in this era, because you're open to a lot more scrutiny than you were back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it wasn't Siskel and Ebert talking about your movie, all right, whatever, or whatever established.
Straight.
Yeah, right. But on a global scale, like, your mistakes are on a global scale at this point.
Right. So you're under the microscope now more than ever, where marginalized voices have a stronger voice now because anybody can listen to them. You getting a consensus approval for your work is way more difficult now than it's ever been. So in that regard, I salute all of the artists that come out now, but I can't fault anybody for wanting to elevate their fave. But just know, once you elevate them, once they get into a certain airspace, we're going to regulate it and we're going to talk about it and we're going to say, okay, if he's really that great, because I've seen the conversation about Donald Glover, about his past and about how he separated himself from blackness and his prior comments. And this is stuff that you have to discuss, because when you create an art that's appealing to your people, but at the same time, your previous comments, they contradict what you're producing.
Yes.
And it's only right for us to ask those questions and to keep you honest to what you're doing and to interpret it through that lens.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys both pretty much suggested most of the things that I was thinking in my head, just in terms of how we treat our heroes or how we treat luminaries or whatever the case may be. The part I wanted to add is, when you do, regardless of whether you uplift someone and put them on a pedestal or see them as geniuses, just be very mindful of their whole character. Lots of people will blindly just follow or listen to someone and they only base it on one track or one body of work or whatever the case is. Really understand who you're dealing with, just from a whole point of view, because as Jeff alluded to, there's some things that they may have said in the past that are a little funny style, but maybe they've changed their ideologies, or maybe they've never changed their ideologies and they're hiding it behind a mask. So I just think, from a personal standpoint, it's important to really, if there's somebody that you really mess with heavy like that, to really go into their history, their body of work, their creativity, really go into their thoughts and understand who this person is. Because lots of times you're dealing with a stranger. You don't know them personally, but who you think these people are not really who they are.
Facts. And also, like Jeff said, and like we've all been saying, it's also a lot of people who go into this work. You know, like I said, with Donald Glover, there's a whole team of people behind him. So, you know, Kanye West, with anyone great, there's always some people behind you. You know, with FanBrosShow, it's all of us who make this thing great. You know, we're the best, you know, like shout outs to Khaled, you know, we even do everything over here. But, you know, like that's all I could say on that one. I think we've said enough on this subject. We've got the super fire guest coming up. You know, the mayor of the FanBrosShow returning to take his crown back. DJ Older is here. Daniel Jose Older. Listen to it after the break. And welcome back, y'all. And I know you've been enjoying, loving this episode. You know, thank you, Tatiana, for holding us down. You know, I mean, you know, he's a friend of the show. You know, I mean, you know, you're used to it. You know, he's been here. You know.
And Daniel, I will continue to call it the last shot whenever I freaking feel like it. Don't tell me anything about that, sir.
Oh yeah, make sure you cop that book. It's last shot, right? It's not.
It's not. I call it the last shot, but it is just last shot.
Hey, I'm still saying Infinity Wars. So.
Oh, that's what I was just about to say. I'm so glad you didn't put an S on.
I am black, so
there's no S, right?
That's about D Palm, who's leading the Black people. Stop saying Infinity Wars. Stop saying Infinity Wars.
Or stop saying Valentine's Day.
Oh,
you know what? That has to stop.
T-I-N-E.
Times. It's not the time. His name is Valentine. This man's mama did not name him Times.
Oh my gosh.
The first incident for me is anyone in DC knows this club is a Dream, and when people were calling it Dreams, and
that's just wrong. That's just wrong. It is Dream. It is.
It's Dream.
There's no S on the end. What is with the plurality? There's no S.
Love, and they weren't calling it Loves.
Loves. No, they didn't call it Loves. I give them that, but it was straight up and down Dreams. You going to Dreams?
I got the pneumonias.
Both of them.
Wait.
Both.
What? Questions we asked ourselves. And speaking of questions, folks, how you like that segue right there? It's time for the Geekly Asked questions. That's right. The guac is extra. And what do we have up tonight?
We have first from Indie Idealists. They write, my wife and I have been having a debate over which body modifications we think are better.
Okay.
Or organic, such as mutation or gene editing, versus mechanical, such as bionic prosthetics, nanobots, etc. Both have issues. With gene edits, you don't fully understand how all the on and off switches in our genes affect each other and the long-term consequences of messing with them. With the mechanical alterations, you run the risk of becoming obsolete as newer tech is created, or if you don't keep up with the latest software updates. What do you think is the case, and what do you prefer?
That's a good ass question.
Damn sure is. Y'all date nights are lit, boy.
Right? That's a deep ass question. See, I think there's clearly pitfalls with both. Indie Idealists already rounded out most of them, really. From the organic side, you're just talking about the fact that when it comes to science, we have proven time and time again, look at all the movies thereof, that we keep effing ish up because we're humans and we don't got it together. So organic, I feel like you're always going to run the risk of you pop out with the fifth eye over here, like something's going to go wrong that you don't F with. Same with mechanical, but maybe because I'm also love futurism and I see myself as a futurist, I'm more drawn to mechanical side because I feel like, yeah, if you don't keep up, malware and viruses, all that stuff, but I also feel like when you get to a point in the future where unless the malware is also evolving as fast as the tech, I don't see how that's going to become an issue. And also you're in a space where if you a nebula, for instance, you can take pieces in and out at will. So it kind of almost like a scrapper yourself. Like you can sit there and build yourself, update yourself. And I feel like if you of the level mentally where you're putting in your own bionics, then you got to be ready to face the consequences and face the things you have to do in order to protect yourself mechanically or technologically. So personally, I'm all for the mechanic body modifications.
I think I'm gonna lean with the combo button. I think you got to get both of them in there because I think you got to get like the nanobots who are doing the gene modifications. That's my lane right there. Because I think in the long run, that's where we're gonna go towards.
That sounds like a cheat code.
Hey, shout out those plays because that's sometimes you got to pull the cheat code to win the game, and I'm going for the win. So W, that's my choice.
Wow, that was pretty. This is pretty tough. See the one thing about growing naturally with your genetic modification is that you don't have to worry about foreign agents. So how metal interacts with your body, the fact, like, let's say, for example, I'm a cyborg, so I'm half cybernetic. If you let off an EMP, half my body is shut down automatically. So I'm not really dealing with that if I have a genetic mutation, unless you have a way to shut down my genetic mutation. There's easier ways to shut down mechanics than genetic mutations. But with the biotics, I'm thinking like back to Mass Effect and whatnot. Biotics, you can always upgrade them. You can always improve on them. But if you have a power, like if I'm thinking of gold balls from X-Men. If your power is just to make fucking gold balls of different sizes and throw it at people.
Wait. No. I mean, I might have missed those issues. There was a dude named Gold Balls.
He was actually a part of Secret Warriors.
What?
Yeah, gold balls.
Is this 90s or
no? It was early 2000s. Part of the original Secret Warriors run with
not New Warriors. I was thinking New Warriors. Okay, Secret Warriors. Okay,
you're thinking of Speedball, like not gold balls. So like that was like his power, and then he went away for a few months, and literally Nick Fury was like, "Yo, you gotta get in shape. You don't know how to use your shit."
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at a Google right now, and a mutant with a superhuman ability to project at high speed gold colored balls made of an unknown substance and of different sizes from any part of his body.
So he's basically a mutant version of the fucking playpen that you go to in Chuck E. Cheese and you play around them shits and he can throw them shits at you, right? So I'm thinking, okay, do I deal with the hand that I got dealt, or do I deal with these implants that augment my abilities that I can always upgrade? And at first I was leaning towards the mechanical, but to me, if you do with the genetic modifications, eventually, what, fuck it. I'm gonna go with the biotics, right? Because I was gonna go with the genetics, but the difference to me, the deal breaker is when you get to a certain age, your powers are going to diminish. Just like how with men and testosterone, as you get older, you lose that. So you may not be able to get in shape as quickly unless you're using outside testosterone or you're taking HGH or that shit. You won't be able to have the same vigor that you did in your 20s and your 30s. But if you're using biotics or cybernetic implants or any type of foreign agent, it doesn't matter how old you are. The power level is still going to remain the same. So given all of that, my conclusion based off of non-research, the cybernetic implants, like machine over genetics.
All right. I mean, that is a fantastic question, definitely. And I love your answers, but I still think, and even after you said what you said, Jeff, I got to go even further because like you said, it's like, I'd rather take, the nanobots giving me some mutant powers and then have that permanent in my body and the nanobots get out of my body and then I'm straight.
I mean, no shots. I wasn't trying to cheat.
I know. Hey, you got to do what you got to do to win sometimes. Throw that cheat code in there.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, shout out. So thank you for that question. Great question right there. If you have any other questions for us, you can always hit us up. Contact at fanbros.com, or you can hit us on the Twitter, on the Instagram at FanBrosShow. Anywhere on the internet's at FanBrosShow. Hit us up. Send us your questions. Don't have to be about geek stuff. Can be about anything at all. It's the Geekly Asked Questions. And sadly, that's it for tonight. But, we do have some other great stuff going on tonight because it is Comics Psychopt. That's weird doing that on video because everybody's seeing me do the extra. They don't hear the extra. So it's like, But hey,
That's
shout
right.
out to everybody out there copping their comics using the hashtag #ComicsICopped. Thank you for that. This weekend was Free Comic Book Day, and it was super lit, as you can see.
Oh, snap.
Oh, my God.
Wait, so what you got there? I see Avengers. What else?
Okay, yeah, we got the new Avengers, which is kicking off Jason Aaron's run. I wasn't blown away by this. I don't know. This is just a preview though. It's not the whole, like issue.
Right. So what's the next one?
The next one is The World's Greatest Cartoonist, which features a whole bunch of different, shorts from various cartoonists. I posted one of these on my Twitter today, DJ Ben Amin, where they were talking about how a princess back in the 1600s. Yeah, that's something I'll just leave for my Twitter. You can go read about that on there.
What else you got?
Ooh, got dark real quick in here. That was Overwatch. They dropped a comic. This is also a reprint. Free Comic Book Day. They like to give you old stuff, but I had not read this before, so this features the homegirl Zarya and was pretty dope. Not mad at this at all. Some other stuff right here. Yeah. Transformers Unicron right here. Kicks off. They're actually ending the whole run of Transformers, which has been going on from what I understand, like 14 years.
I was gonna say I didn't even know it was still happening.
Yo, the IDW has had the license for like 10, 14 years, something like that. And they've been printing comics. And some of these are really dope. Like, I don't personally read them, but people talk about them like as being some of the best comic books out. Like,
wow.
Yeah, there was this one series, the name slips my mind. It's like Transformers something.
More than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye, yeah. The Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. And people always talk about that, how that joint is super fire. Like, did you read it, Jeff?
Nah, but I've heard so much about it. Like my guy D-Palm, he's been like the champion. Like IDW needs to cut him a check. Like, I'm not even playing because he champions this. Like, and as a kid, I love Transformers. So at some point, I have to go back and read it because this is like giving them purpose, giving them like characteristics of what we loved as a kid, but taking it to a whole other level where it's not even about the Earth anymore. It's about them as a community, which is crazy. Like, fucking robots as a community and shit. Like, why not? You know what I mean?
Why not?
Now, I can't remember who recommended it to me, but I've heard the same thing. Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. And this is the end of the whole run of all the books. Transformers Unicron. It features, as the title says, Unicron coming through, whooping that ass. But this has like everything in it because they've combined like the Transformers universe, the MASH universe, the G.I. Joe universe, the ROM universe. So in this issue, ROM's homeworld gets destroyed by Unicron, and ROM and some of the other Space Knights are the only ones left. And then Unicron's on that rampage. So, pretty interesting. Definitely worth checking out. Now, big one this week is The Amazing Spider-Man, the new return of Nick Spencer writing the book, and Ryan Otley, one of my favorite artists who'd been doing Invincible for umpteen years and is now free and is working on Spider-Man. So, yeah, that joint, I don't know, Jeff. I know you're a big Nick Spencer fan. My problem is Peter Parker is like broke again.
I mean, you was who you was for you got here, bro. Like, he been broke. Like, you got to think about it. When he was making his money, it wasn't him. It was Otto Octavius. And the fact of the matter is, when that whole Superior Spider-Man, Octavius really was like, Dr. Octopus told him, you made your life a hot line. I'm making it a hot song. Because he saw that something was holding him back from being the person that he should be. And he did that because he didn't have any scruples. He didn't have any ties to people. It was like, he was like, all right, great power, great responsibility, no doubt. But we get into this money, though. We get into, Peter Parker got a graduate degree or his doctorate because of Dr. Octopus. He was sitting on all this intelligence and didn't get it. Like, he was smart enough. Like, he to think that this character, as rich of a character, had so much untapped potential. And that's why I would always recommend Superior Spider-Man to anybody. It's like a different take where Otto, the main reason why he's a hero is just to prove that he could be a better hero than Peter was. And how he can make being a hero efficient and smart and in his image. But Yeah, like he lost his whole empire after Secret Empire, and then now he's like back to doing what he did as a young adult. This is being I think he heads the science division. He heads the science division in the for the Bugle. So he's like the science editor. So any type of science stuff that's going down, and I don't know if Nick is going to expand on that, but I mean I'm interested in it. You know, I can relate to being broke and working, so he always has a soft spot for me.
Yeah, no, I know you love Spider-Man, and I love Ryan Ollie, so I'm definitely gonna give the book a chance. There's an interesting twist at the end of the free comic book day that I won't give away yet because it's definitely part of what's going to be expounded upon in later issues, and I enjoyed it overall, so I'll be checking in on it again. But this week, my God, yeah. I walked into the store. Shout out to a shop called Quest out here in LA. That was the shop that I went to for free comic book day. And I'm just looking through the store, and I've been waiting on this book. This is the Black Monday Murders. This is the second trade paperback of it because I only read it in trade. And Black Monday Murders is written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Tom Coker. And basically, it involves a story that tells a story about the idea that money is actually evil and money is actually funded by the devil, pretty much. And there's like schools of thought and these schools of people who maintain control of the world, like a secret society type thing, who control the world and have communicated with the devil and use secret rituals and stuff to influence money in all the world. And the book started, the very first issue started with the Wall Street crash and explained how the Wall Street crash was the result of these secret rituals and not the result of just like economics or whatever. And so, and then the book features a black detective named Dumas who is investigating this. And he's trying to get into the world, but he might even know something more about this world even before he gets into it. And I just got the second trade. It's like a real noir, like dark book, very horror at certain points, very ill, creepy, but oh my God, I love it. Jonathan Hickman's one of my favorite writers out there, and Black Monday Murders is one of my favorite books. Definitely check it out. The second trade's out. Check the first trade and the second. Fire. Absolute fire. Oh my God.
With Hickman, I definitely gotta check that out.
That sounds amazing, actually.
I got a couple that I checked out. So Brian K. Vaughan came out with Barrier comic book day.
Yep.
From what I'm gathering so far, it's like a tale of like illegal immigrants and shit like that. And what's ill about it is I think half the comic book is in Spanish. So I tried to read it late last night, and then I turned to like page 5, and someone hit the SAP button in my world. Transmitido por SAP en español. So I was like, oh shit, this is lit. Now, mind you, I'm like semi-fluent. I'm not as fluent as I used to be, so I can understand it, but I can't read that shit at 3 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock. I'm just like, yeah, it's no. I don't have time to read this in not my native language. But I think it's ill. There's no subtitles. Like you gotta know Spanish or do the get your Google Translate on it and follow along with it. And it's similar to when he uses Esperanto in Saga.
Yep.
Where Esperanto is Latin based too, but you can kind of sort of get it if you don't look it up. But I thought that was good for enrichment. But there's like from the 7th page on, it's all Spanish, like all Spanish. And I was damn. But it's supposed to be a part of a mini series, but I'm interested to read it. Like I definitely am. And Brian Michael Bendis, he ended his run because he's going to DC to write Action Comics. He ended his run on Spider-Man, Miles Morales' book, and that he wrote his final issue for this week that released. And it was cool because it mirrored when, for those of you who don't know, I believe in December, he had gotten an infection and he was sick and he was in the hospital for a few weeks. And all the writers and people that he knew, famous, not famous, had come to the hospital to check on him. You know, he's in and out of consciousness. And he wrote that story of him in the hospital for Miles after his arc where he had an infection and all the people that he knew him was coming to check on him, from his Uncle Aaron to his family to his best friend, Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker, a bunch. Tony Stark came through to check. And I didn't know that was his story until I read his letter at the end. So it was a good way to tie up, because he's been on the book in one capacity or another for 18 years.
Yep.
And he's going to go do Action Comics and work with DC. But I felt it was a good place to wrap it up, and it was cool knowing the personal connection. So whoever takes it over next, good luck.
Right.
Use to fill, but that book has been good, and also Batman's book. So a lot of people have been deeming it Bat Point. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
So this
it's like a Flashpoint type thing going on.
Yes and no. So Booster Gold, if a lot of you don't know, like he's a character from the future. He wanted to get Batman a gift for his wedding. So he decided his gift was going to be to go back in the past, stop his parents from getting murdered, so that he can appreciate the life. Like, it's almost like This Is Your Life. The Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, Future.
Leave Martha and Bruce.
So he does this so that Batman can appreciate it, and that was his gift. But everything is going to shit. And I'm personally, I love Booster Gold as a character. So just to see Tom King write him, and it's like, he's an idiot. He's an idiot.
But okay, see, that's my one problem with it, and that goes back to like the whole Peter Parker being back to being broke again. That's my problem. Is Nick Spencer hasn't done it yet, but Booster Gold has expanded a lot since being the Booster Gold that he's an idiot. Like, he had his own series where he saved the universe countless times, and Batman even thanked him for it.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not that he's reverting back to his idiocy. I forget the adjective to use, but I'll just walk it through and see if I get it right. He's still so brazen and so, like, he's so self-centered that he thinks that this is an idea because he's been a time master, that I can flip a switch, do this, and then once you awaken, fuck it, I'll flip it again. But
leave Thomas and Martha alone, first of all. Like, I'm tired of stories with them, okay? Like, let them be dead and let that be the end of it. Cute with the whole, what if we go back and save them? Like, we're beyond that point where I care. Right.
But it's not so much about them. It's about Batman, and he wanted to give him an appreciation for what he had, but he didn't anticipate that he may not want to go through all that drama.
Yes.
And basically all the fuck ups are happening from there. One of the coolest things to come out of that series is he makes Catwoman a costume, and it's the Batman Returns costume.
Yep.
Oh shit.
So I just thought it was just hilarious because he doesn't know how to make a costume. He's like, yo, I just tried my best, and it's that costume.
Shade.
So those were the two that I read this week, and along with reading all of the free comic book day stuff. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So, it's an exciting time.
And I'm just going to quickly insert one. This wasn't a title for Free Comic Book Day, but it's an ongoing title that started in March. Oblivion Song by Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici.
What?
Yeah. So I actually a few months ago interviewed Robert and the rest of the creative crew on Oblivion Song. Basically, the story goes 10 years ago, just literally randomly, Philly, the entire city was transported, or maybe half of the city was transported to an alternate dimension known as Oblivion. So I think they say it was about 300K people just disappeared out of nowhere. What they was transported to this dimension where pretty much everything it's a hellscape. So every creature, plant, living being, whatever you want to call it, is completely adverse to humans. It's not the place you want to be. It's not this hotspot, okay? Just to put it simply. And it follows a few characters who are able to go back and forth between dimensions and try to save people from oblivion. And then what happens throughout their travels there. It's a very, very well written story, and also the art is pretty insane. Lots of creature characters, lots of the color is amazing, the penciling is amazing as well. So it's definitely a title I would say to pick up, check it out, especially if you're a Kirkman fan.
Word. And he also just recently ended Invincible, like we said. That's why Ryan Otley is over doing Spider-Man now.
Right.
So this is his new big series. So definitely check it out. I'm sure, Kurtman pretty much has delivered on everything he's ever done as far as like, especially his independent stuff, Invincible, Walking Dead,
Yeah.
Thief of Thieves. I mean, he's on a hit. So I'm gonna check out. I've read the first 3 issues that we got, but I'm definitely gonna be on Oblivion Song. And to everyone out there, thank you as always for using that hashtag #ComicsICopped. Please keep using it. Let us see what you're doing out there. Everyone using it, thank you. And, in some comic-related news, but, not exactly comics, after, the Infinity Fade, after the heartbreak, it's not that time. No time to cry, child. We had the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer dropping this week. And, I can't even lie. Marvel, it's like,
there's no touching them. There's absolutely no touching them when it comes to superhero films, comic book adaptations, whatever title you want to use. There is no touching Marvel at really, I'm going to say at any point. Once they put in motion the idea of the MCU and had laid out the plan. And for me, it makes sense. Put a plan in place and follow through with it. Obviously, you're going to have to make adjustments as you chart your course, but do that and do it smartly. They've made adjustments when it comes to the technology used in filming these movies. They've made adjustments in directors and writers and things like that. They've crafted it as the times have changed. And again, they have a blueprint that they've steady followed and generally have not made a misstep. So that's why there's absolutely no touching Marvel at this point.
I mean, basically.
Yeah, but that trailer though.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer.
Okay. So I was a lot of people were on the fence, but I've always, not always, but I was generally a fan of the first Ant-Man movie. I thought it was funny and comedic. Yes, there were some slight issues here and there, but I accepted it as it was. I liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the character choices and the cast. I have no issues with it. So to see this continue on with the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I had a blast just watching the trailer. Usually the trailers, you're kind of like, okay, you could still be on the fence because they try not to show you too much. But after watching the trailer, I was all in. It looks fun. It looks entertaining. It looks like one of those Easter egg type of movies that I tend to like, where you sit there and you say, okay, why did they choose to go in this direction? What are the little things in each scene that I'm going to miss that are going to make me want to see this movie again or pay more attention to it or whatever the case may be? This looks like one of those movies where I'm engaged. And as a moviegoer, lots of times movie watching is a passive experience, but I like to be engaged and be also within action as I'm watching a movie. I like to sit there and try to understand what's happening, think about all the things that are happening on screen, and then start my analysis as I'm watching. So Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer, seeing everything flying around and the choices they made, like enlarging Pez dispensers and things like that, like that's fun to me. And to see lots of common items being used in different ways, in different creative ways, they had me. They just had me by the end of that trailer.
All right. Did we lose Jeff J there?
No, he's still there.
Okay.
Bro, I was being respectful, but I can chime in right now.
Oh, please do, sir.
It looks like a heist movie. It looks fun. It's definitely the cool down match before the main event that we needed from Marvel, because Infinity War was type heavy. And I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be that fun movie that we can watch. And I think because Marvel and the MCU has raised the bar so much with their movies within the comic book, quote unquote, comic book movie space.
Yes.
Every movie doesn't have to be the greatest movie ever. There can be good movies. There can be solid movies. Yeah, you may only watch it once. That's fine. It doesn't diminish from what their effect they're going to do, because these movies are all within different genres. Guardians of the Galaxy is sci-fi. Winter Soldier and the Captain America film. Captain America 1 was a war movie. Winter Soldier was a spy flick. You know what I mean? Civil War was action adventure. So there's different categories. And that's just in general with comic movies. They fulfill different genres. So this shit, Ant-Man and the Wasp looks like Fast and the Furious with powers. And sign me up, take my money, and don't say anything. Just play the movie.
Right.
And I feel like I can have a good time, have fun, and just watching to see if there's going to be anything else that they allude to from what happened in Infinity War.
Oh yeah.
Enough to keep me. Yo, it's so ill how MCU is doing it. For those who watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they tied directly to Infinity War. They tied directly to it, like to the point where there's a character who could have potentially beat Thanos, but they took him out in time to let him know, yo, Earth is under attack, but we can't go there right now. Like, it's ill. Like, they've tied everything together for this moment. So for them to tie how they're going to tie Ant-Man and the Wasp and even Captain Marvel when it comes out next year, I'm ready. I'm ready to have fun. We deserve it. We need it because Infinity War rattled my nerves, rattled my last nerve, and I'm ready to woo-saw and have some fun.
Word. And also it's got Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp, and
oh, that's your home girl.
I mean, that's Lost, that goes back. That is like, and I just love her. I think she's a great actress. I think she portrays that tough ass kicking. I love the shot in the trailer when she's flipping through the car and changing sizes. I love how they're giving her all the abilities of the Wasp. Wasp is also a dope character.
Her Wasp reminds me of the animated The Avengers show Wasp.
Yeah, definitely.
She really embodies at least what I felt about that character: the height and agility, the cleverness, the foil to at the time. Like it's really good how they've matched up Evangeline with this character.
And also the villain in this movie is the Ghost. And this is another one of those moments for me where it's like, I can't believe I'm seeing Ghost on screen because he's become more popular now. But I remember him as an Iron Man villain way back in the day. And he was just a random ass villain. He was ill though, because he was Ghost and he killed this other character in this one issue where it really fucked me up. Cause he like just murdered this dude viciously. And it was like, damn, like, and it was one of the things because he can phase through walls. So basically, he gave this one guy his ability to phase, and then when the dude was halfway through the wall, he was like, I'm good, and took it off him and murdered this dude like that. That shit fucked me up as a kid. So,
well, the difference in this movie, Ghost is actually a woman, and played by Hannah John Kamen, who also played Finale in what's the movie that just came out with all the video games?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, when the little bit of scenes that I saw with Ghost, I was a little nervous. It came off a little cheesy to me.
Oh no. Don't worry about that.
So I just hope that's just because it's a trailer and I don't see all the information. But I was a little nervous with the acting part. It just seemed a little off to me. But again, I hope it's just a very small glimpse of, something greater. So
no, I didn't even really peep her acting in the trailer, but Ghost is an ill character, and I trust them. Like, come on, man, they got this right now. Some people who don't have it right now are whoever's in control of putting this Venom trailer out, and Venom movie. It's like Marvel just handed you the ball above the rim, and you just,
Oh my gosh! First of all, and you can attribute this to semantics or accent. Where is it ever pronounced symbiote? It's symbiote, or at least that's how I've always pronounced it for the last 20 whatever years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
30. Venom has now been around 30 years.
It's maybe in Sony's offices they pronounce it like that, but good sirs,
right?
Where I'm from,
I understand that's just a small tidbit. It's not really a major thing.
Yes, it is.
Some people be like, "Oh, girl, they're just saying it differently." I'm just saying it bothers me as someone who's sitting there watching and reading about this character forever, and then they go and do that. It was weird. My other concern is I have not been generally excited about this movie, even through the teasers. Especially even after they said, as much as I love him, when they said Tom Hardy, I was just like, I just sat there and kind of like squinted because I was just like, really? Like that's just not the person I would have thought. Bane, okay. Eddie Brock, I don't know.
Eddie Brock in the original form of Eddie Brock was supposed to be a bigger, more menacing form of Peter Parker. That's the thing. That's why Venom becomes bigger and more menacing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind physicality size. Like, he has it. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I don't care. It was just this
that mumble mouth.
Yeah, this person with this character, it didn't match up for me. It didn't match up for me mentally. that said, I was like, okay, let's wait and see what we get with these trailers. The trailers came and I was still kind of like ho-hum. It still feels like Tom Hardy. I still feel like I'm watching a movie with Tom Hardy. I don't feel like I'm watching a movie with Eddie Brock or the person who's supposed to be this. I don't see Venom. I just see Tom. And then further, when they finally showed Venom, the CGI version, I just kept saying, why is he so shiny? Like, what is going on? Is he like a gorilla in the mist? What is happening here? I didn't understand it was very like nasty, sticky kind of thing going on, and I wasn't with it.
So for me, the trailer, when I saw the trailer, it did intrigue me a little bit to see the film more than I wanted to. And I would attribute that to Tom Hardy because he's a great actor. So when I saw him throughout the trailer, I was like, okay, I can see how people can lean into it. As far as the Venom symbiote itself, my man Chris said that it looked like a Venom hoodie. Like, you know, the hoodie. And put it on, and I can't unsee it ever since.
It does.
And you know, I know people, and that's another debate to have about how everybody's become CGI experts on timelines and social media. But just from what I saw, it looked like Venom was plastic. It looked menacing. It looked crazy. So like if I saw it in a picture, I'd be like, oh shit, Venom. It looks shit. But to watch it, how it formed on him and then it stuck, he just looked fake. That's what my dad used to say.
Emotional looks weird.
Crazy. He'd be like, that looks fake. This looks fake. Everything to him was like, that looks fake. That shit looked fake to me. And somebody put side by side Venom and Spawn from 90.
Oh.
If those look alike, you have a problem.
Yeah.
That was 30 years ago. You have a problem. Like, you gotta, you know, no shots at Spawn. I support you, brother. But no, like I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I feel like you donate the money. You allocate the money to CGI and you make it happen. Like a lot of the CGI.
You know, for all we know, this could just be the rough cut CGI. But I always sit here and say, how could you publicly release anything that rough or anything that questionable looking? Again, remember we said this is the age of global mistakes. So if you put out stuff like that globally, everyone's going to say, what the fuck? So I agree with you. It just looked, I didn't believe it. It not to say that Venom is believable as an actual thing. It's just, I keep reminding myself of the animation. I am the cartoon head, and I'm just sitting here like that. The cartoon from the 90s looks better than this. There's something wrong.
Facts. And also everyone was arguing about the idea that, you know, Venom shouldn't even look like Venom if they don't have Spider-Man in this movie, because the idea of Venom is that he's inspired by Spider-Man.
Right.
He's Spider-Man, so he grows the, you know, evil version of Spider-Man.
Right.
So, but they still haven't been exactly clear if Tom Holland or if there will be, like, you know, a shot of Spider-Man swinging in the distance. And Venom's like, I hate that dude.
Well,
you know?
Back in the summer 2017, they said verbatim, no Tom Holland in this movie. They didn't say, to your point, they didn't say it's not going to be, like you said, a shot.
Yeah,
somebody swinging around and
I hate
just
him.
to let you know, hey, he exists. But again, how do you ignore that layup?
It's a major fucking issue. That's what it is. And that's the biggest hang up I'm going to have for this film. That the whole reason why Venom is Venom and is on Earth is because of
Spider-Man.
They've even expanded the Venom mythos for the symbiotes itself and where the symbiotes land. I believe they're called Clitharans or something like that. And they're from a whole nother Earth, a whole nother world where getting attached by them is almost like an affliction.
Yes.
Like, oh shit, you got that symbiote? Damn, dog, I don't know how you get that up.
You got that.
But they're sentient beings, and Venom had to reconnect with them. Think about Odo and his race from 9. He had to reconnect with them in order to cleanse the hate that Brock gave it. Mm-hmm. For the symbiote as a being to be whole again and to connect with its people and to wash all of that away. But even as far as the spider symbol, how you gonna have a spider symbol of Venom
and no Spider-Man?
He's an alien fucking spider. Like, come on, man.
And that's what makes me nervous. Again, we don't have the full story, so for all we know, they're gonna flip it on us 180. You see how they fucking did us with Infinity War, but the difference between that was Marvel and this is Sony, and now I'm just like, I don't trust y'all, fam. Like unless there's some joint effort, I don't trust them.
And like I said, they had such a good, they had all the goodwill in the world with Homecoming. It's just like DC when they had all the goodwill in the world with Wonder Woman. And some of it was Suicide Squad, and then they just, botched that. But, like we said, we'll see what happens. Also this week, not even really worth mentioning. Let's talk about something more important. Is this Roar for Change?
Yes.
Make sure y'all check out the hashtag Roar for Change. This benefits who is this for exactly?
It's for UNICEF.
I'm all hyped for it. Like,
it's okay. It benefits UNICEF.
This sounds like another. Oh no, we're not gonna say that one. But yeah, no. This is actually a cause you can believe in. It benefits UNICEF every time anyone uses the hashtag Roar for Change on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere out there. They will donate $1 until they reach $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy. All you gotta do is go out there. Use the hashtag Roar for Change, and if you want, you can add on your own Wookiee impersonation. Like this one right here.
You could cheat.
Yes.
What it is.
Yes. So you have to use the hashtag Roar for Change on social media between May 3rd and May 25th. And as Ben said, up to $1 million, they're gonna donate $1 for each social media post using the hashtag. And they encourage you to either post a photo or a video using your most creative Wookiee roar. You can challenge or nominate other people, other friends to do it. And either you can use a cheat code like Ben Ami has and use the mask, or you can do it yourself. I know DJ Older, our very own guest today's episode, he did his own where did you see it though? It was kind of funny.
That brother should have used the cheat code, man. That brother should have used the cheat code. Ooh, Lord, you can write
how you gonna shade our guests though?
You can write a Star Wars book, but you can't always do a Wookiee impersonation, folks.